hear the battle cry. Under the devil's sky, the one-winged angel screams. It fuels my hopes and dreams. The best promotion. Are you ready for this?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Broken Tables podcast. I am your host, Jeffrey Vegas, here as always with our reigning and defending Broken Predictions champion, King Rome. How you guys doing tonight? Can everybody hear me? I'm sure I don't sound great because I'm in this hotel room here, but how you
I
doing
mean,
tonight, Rome?
yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You don't sound too bad. We'll have to see
Not
how
too
you
bad.
sound for everyone else, though.
Where I'm sitting, I sound like I'm in a bathroom. It's echoing hardcore, so I don't know if that's coming across, but that's great if it's not.
I mean, it is. It is.
It is, yeah. I figured it was. So might have you do a little bit most of the talking here tonight, but man, this was a freaking awesome episode of Collision, huh?
I mean, I'm just gonna say it. We're 2 weeks in, and Collision has been leagues better than Dynamite the last 2 weeks.
Dude, I have to agree, man. And if they're expecting us to choose sides, I think our side has been chosen.
Oh, I've definitely chosen my side.
Right. So I'm actually out here in Toronto for Forbidden Door tomorrow. I was gonna hit up Collision tonight, but we didn't get here in time. By the time we got to the hotel room and everything, it was 7 o'clock. Would have taken another 45 minutes to get down to the arena, and I guess I could have bought tickets on the phone, but I wound up finding a way to watch Collision out here in Canada, which I have to say they made it very difficult to watch Collision. The only AEW programming that you get in Canada on regular television is Dynamite. Everything else you have to, it's basically locked behind a paywall. You have to get the TSN app or Fight TV, and get the AEW package, stuff like that. But I found a way, and man, I'm really glad I did. This episode was freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the TV deal over there. It's how it works. I think you can get it through AEW Plus, where you get all the TV content there. But you have to pay for it, though. So
Yeah. So we opened up Collision tonight in an absolutely incredible way. The promos from both teams from the main event. Again, Punk is bookending the show, opening and closing. What did you think of this opener? The way that they had everybody cut a promo real quick, before we even got to the show.
I mean, honestly, I absolutely loved it. It gave off, a very Saturday night vibe. I mean, I know that old, Saturday shows used to do that with Saturday night's main event and whatnot, I think. But just, yeah, we've discussed over the last few weeks whether Collision and Dynamite would feel separate, and I really loved it. I think that it makes the show feel a lot different, and it gives it this, like, you just feel like you're going into a big fight, a big show. You have the two teams cutting promos on each other to cold open the show with some music playing in the background, and then you go into the opening, the intro of the show, and I also really love the touch of it was specific to this show. That opener was all the matches that happened tonight, and I don't know if people caught that, but it was incredible.
Dude, it was so good, man, so good. And let's hit up chat real quick before we get too far into this. We got Michael Duke in the chat. Thank you very much, Mike. At the Coog, we got Jordan, hashtag Team Punk, baby. Let's go. We also got, I think that's it, Michael, the Coog. Thank you guys very much for joining us. Anybody else that's here, throw what's up in chat. We always like to say hello to everybody. But man, this opening segment was the Jericho coming out to interrupt Sting and Darby from coming out, correct? This was the first segment?
Yep, we open the show and Tony Giovanni is there. He says that we're going to find out who is going to be Darby Allin and Sting's partner. Um, Before he can announce Sting, he's about to do the whole "It's Sting" thing. And Jericho's music hits. Jericho and Suzuki come out, but with no Sammy Guevara. Jericho points at, he tells Tony to shut up. He tells the crowd to shut up. And he says, "You idiots, I'm not from Toronto. I'm from Winnipeg."
Yeah. I loved that Jericho still trashed the crowd here, even though they were in Canada. That was great.
Yeah. So, and then Jericho and Suzuki have a special secret handshake. Uh, Jericho says that Sammy is mad about that, amongst other things, which is why he's not there tonight. I thought it was definitely the right call to not have Sammy come out with them. It continues to show this the wedge being driven between them. And yeah, so then Sting and Darby come out, and they announce that their partner is none other than the man that beat Jericho in the Tokyo Dome. Tetsuya Naito is the third man of that team, and the match is set for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's gonna be freaking awesome, man. Like as soon as I kind of realized that it was Naito, he's the one who beat Jericho in the Tokyo Dome. So
Mhm.
I knew Jericho was gonna be like he saw a ghost, and the way Naito was wearing all white too, just kind of the whole Jericho looking like he saw a ghost. I loved it. Look, it was such a good, awesome moment.
Yeah, it was great. I got to see Naito in Philly this year at the Collision in Philadelphia, so that was really cool.
Ooh, nice.
Um, yeah, no, this was a really great moment. So we talked about Dynamite not being a very good go home show. Like this was the real go home show for the paper, and it definitely showed. Again, I thought this was just an excellent episode of Collision. Excellent 2 hours of television, and like if this is going to be the trajectory of the two shows, Collision's the new A show. I'm sorry, like it is what it is.
I
But
mean, hard to argue against it right now. Collision has definitely been the best show on television for about 2 weeks straight now. So
oh yeah, completely. I mean, hell, Rampage was better than Dynamite
yeah,
because that was a damn good episode of Rampage too.
I gotta say, so afterwards when we had our Dynamite review, you kind of talked me into not thinking it was that great. I went back and watched some of it, and I watched some of the podcast, and we had a lot of good things to say. I think there was just
Mm-hmm.
like a couple of things that really irritated you. You know what I mean? And I saw
Sure.
that a lot of people on Twitter thought it was a good show too. So I'm not too sure, but I do agree that Collision and Rampage were better than Dynamite this week.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's not that I thought Dynamite was terrible. It's just if you asked me to sit the two down and really kind of compare
Yeah.
the two, or really compare the three this, I
You know what I
mean,
really thought? So, you know how sometimes
okay.
Tony gives us these like pay-per-views on Dynamite on Wednesdays? This
Mhm.
is kind of maybe a byproduct of that where we expect so high of, Tony's booking, and when we get, something that should be decent, we were still kind of a little like, what the hell? You know?
I mean, yeah, yes and no, because again, all I'm doing is comparing it to the Collision shows, and obviously we're still really early in Collision's life cycle. So I mean, for all we know, 3 months from now, it could just be like Collision is just a longer Rampage. I don't know. I'm hoping it's not the case, but
No,
I
I
mean,
hope
all we
not.
can go off of is what we have to date, and 2 weeks of Collision in the books, and it's the better show. I mean,
Yeah. And we haven't even gotten Thunder Rosa on Collision yet, have we?
no, and I'm not
Right.
even saying
So,
this because CM Punk's on Collision. I'm just saying this in general. It's just the show
oh,
itself is better.
dude,
I think the promos were more powerful. I mean, again, my issue with Dynamite this week is that the promos that mattered, they didn't let it cook. So
yeah.
it's like they ain't giving enough time. I don't know. You gave Christian Cage a lot of time tonight, and he fucking nailed it. But we'll get there.
And I'm sure it's a product of Collision being new, but it feels like everybody on Collision is like super, super passionate about the few moments that they're gonna get on TV. It's like they are absolutely doing everything they can to make the best of it.
Well, I mean, Dak said it on Twitter today or yesterday, whatever it was. I can't remember which day it was. He's like, but Collision's a family. That's what he said.
Yeah, I liked it. So next up, we had that promo from Miro. Nice video package from Miro. So
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Oh, sorry, good.
I was gonna say, it seems like they're still going with the Redeemer thing. You know, they've kind of brought back the same character. Is that what you're seeing as well?
I mean, yes and no. It seems similar, but if you kind of listen to what he's talking about, he says that he was in exile and his God called him back from exile, promising
Okay.
that he would be his favorite again. But then Miro says that the Redeemer bows to no man or God. He must
So,
walk alone. And at the end of the promo, he renounces his God, his gold, beautiful wife.
so did he call Tony Khan God in that promo?
That was kind of the way it came off to me. I was just like, wait a second, has Tony Khan been God for his character? Like
That's
that was
funny.
kind of the light bulb that went off. So that was actually my next bullet point after that quote that he did, where I was just like, I was in exile, my God called me back. Like, okay,
Yeah.
so like, is the Redeemer character referred to God? When he refers to God, he refers to Tony, like God's favorite champion, God's
Dude,
favorite wrestler.
that makes me want to go back and watch some old Miro stuff and listen to what he says and think of it in that aspect and see if that's what it's like.
Definitely.
Next up, we had Tanahashi versus Swerve. Um, I thought this was a good match. You know, I saw some people on Twitter saying that, you know, Ace was showing his age here. Uh, I don't know. I did see he kind of fell off the top rope a little bit, but Swerve was working his leg over in the match. You know, maybe that was, again, I'm not going to say that was planned, but, you know, they definitely played it off like it was planned, you know, like Swerve's damage to his knee caused him to lose his balance, you know, but what do you think of the match?
I thought that the match did not hit anywhere as near as it definitely didn't meet expectations. I think that when this match
Yeah.
got announced, people were going into this, myself included, that this was going to be a barn burner. This was going to steal the weekend. Um, it was going to be that match that when all was said and done, and you were on your way back to the States, that people were going to be like, you know, man, that was just a really good match on this really great wrestling weekend. And I just don't think it was that. Um, Kind of what you had said. A lot of people, you know, some people on Twitter, and I know we in the Discord, we were talking about it too. I think Tanahashi really kind of was just showing his age a little bit. Ed was joking that he just looks out of shape. Um, you know, I mean, I just think it is what it is. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that might just be where he's at right now. So yeah, I thought the match was a little rough. I do want to give props to Swerve though, um, because when Tanahashi falls at the finish on the turnbuckle, Swerve sees it and goes into action to like help cover it up. He
Yeah.
jumps up onto the turnbuckle, like that clearly wasn't planned. Like because you can tell Tanahashi did not mean to fall. Swerve instantly jumped up and just started getting up there. Like, can I do something to help him regain his balance? And he like hats off to the guy because that's a great work rate right there.
Yeah,
That's a great
absolutely.
worker thing to do. Like that's incredible. And I think Swerve did great in this match. I mean, but again, I just don't know if Tanahashi can put on that kind of match at this stage in his career, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is.
I
But
mean, we're gonna find out
yeah.
tomorrow because maybe he was holding back a little bit because he needs to have a good match with MJF.
Well, the other thing is that I think that the kind of match that you would go out and have with MJF is different than the kind of match you would go out and have with Tanahashi,
Mhm.
or I'm sorry, with Strickland, with Swerve. Um, so I mean, yeah, I think that something more like MJF is probably going to be a little bit on a more comfortable pace for Tanahashi, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think with MJF, his matches, and there's a beauty to them in the fact that they're and it's basic character storytelling. There's a good guy, there's a bad guy. This is what the good guy does. Tries to overcome the cheating of the bad guy. Um, Jeff, I think our video is gone.
It was gone for a second. I have no idea why that changed.
Oh,
I got
okay,
it fixed.
gotcha. Um, Oh no, I got derailed. Yeah, but I just think MJF's matches are just different. They go to tell a more in ring psychology story, um, over being a work rate type match.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think Tanahashi, we'll see what happens tomorrow just because tonight wasn't a good night. That doesn't mean that tomorrow is not going to be a good night for Tanahashi. We'll just see what happens. But speaking
The
of
Coug,
MJF, after the match, MJF music it hits, and we think, is he going to come out? Of course, he's not coming out. He does a video package where he says that he's demanded to Tony Khan that they go on first tomorrow, so that way he can get the hell out of Canada as soon as possible, and also because he doesn't want to sit around and watch a bunch of indie jabroni wrestle on the card.
yeah, that was great. The Coug said Fightful just announced that they were opening the pay-per-view. But yeah, Coug, if you missed that, MJF said the only way I'm showing up is if we open the show. So, he told Tony Khan that he's going to be the first match on the card. So essentially, that's the way it's working in the old kayfabe there. I love this that MJF didn't actually show up, that he was just up on the screen. That means everybody in that arena, they got a taste of MJF, and maybe they'll buy a ticket for the Forbidden Door tomorrow if there's any stragglers left out there. I love
So,
this.
yeah, this is great. So I have one other thing that I want to comment on, that it's not really about the match or anything like that, but it happened around the time of the match. I don't know if I don't think Kevin Kelly's going to work out long term.
Don't think so?
No, I don't know. I don't think he was very good tonight in general. But also, I don't know what it is with Collision. Like last night, Dasha did it, or last week, but tonight he referred to Swerve as his WWE name, Shane Strickland.
Ooh.
And also when they were doing like the card for tomorrow, Kevin Kelly like butchered Takeshita's name, and I'm like, don't you do the commentary for New Japan? How are you butchering Japanese wrestlers' name? Like,
He's
do you, like,
nervous.
is he?
That's
I
what
don't
it
know.
sounds like.
I don't know, but because he's like, I don't know why he'd be nervous. He's literally called Wrestle Kingdom. He worked for WWE in the '90s. So like, I don't know how this would be too big for him or to be nervous. I
Yeah.
don't know. That doesn't clear with me. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, he's also tied with New Japan, so it's like he's about to be gone when the G1 Climax starts. I don't know. I would think like experiment, throw someone else out there with Nigel and see how it works. I don't know. I was kind of excited when Kevin Kelly first signed on, but I don't know. Too like I was not impressed with him. I didn't think he was that good.
Yeah, I'll say this. I didn't notice him at all. So I don't know if you want to call that a good thing or a bad thing, but I didn't notice him like in a good way or a bad way. So
Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of like a lot of his calls weren't very good, and there were some things he did I liked, but other things I was like, that's okay.
gotcha. All right. Well, what did we have next up here? We had Brody King versus Andrade. Did I miss anything in there? Yo,
No.
Solo season coming in with the sub. Thank you very much, Solo. Thank you very, very much. He
Thank you.
says in chat, MJF wants to get in and get out. Wow. I mean, that's his character, man. MJF despises the fans, except when he goes home to New York. The only place he gets cheered, and it's the only place that he doesn't absolutely destroy the fans. He still does a little bit, but that's his home. You know what I'm saying? That's his entire character, man. So this Brody King versus Andrade match, bro. This when you were saying that Swerve versus Tanahashi was going to be a barn burner, this was a fucking barn burner, man. I loved this match, dude. And Andrade is back, bro. Like, he back.
I completely agree. This was a great match. Absolutely excellent. Really enjoying this storyline right now that we got going on with Andrade and Brody King. You would have to think eventually Andrade is going to call LFI in, and that's going to be them coming back together.
Hope so.
Which I think that would be really cool. But yeah, so this was an excellent match. Completely, just great.
Dude, Brody King, like I keep saying all the time, he's one of the only guys left in the business that's like a legitimate scary monster type guy. Like what they wished Braun Strowman would have been, back in the day and stuff like that. Just a big giant 7 foot something, just monster. Brody King, man. If I was in a bar and he came in, I'd be like, "Tab, check please, I'm out. See ya." Like, but he's probably a super nice dude, you know.
Oh no, yeah, he seems like he. Um,
And
so
dude,
yeah, this was great. The match ends up ending in a disqualification when Buddy Murphy shows up and attacks.
yeah, Andrade had the figure eight locked in. It looked like Brody might possibly tap out, but Buddy gets there too early and gets the DQ. But bro, did you see the moonsault from Andrade off the top rope to the outside?
Also, I just realized I said Buddy Murphy. I said Buddy Murphy.
No, I
Buddy
probably
Matthews.
did too.
Oops. Anyways, well, I'm sorry. What was your question?
Nah, I want to go to chat real quick with Solo here. He's saying that Tony should use him later in the show to keep people in their seats. So Solo, Roman Reigns, who kind of feels like your guy might be named after Solo a little bit, but probably not. Maybe we'll see. But Roman Reigns, he either opens the show or he closes the show. Those are like his rules. So that's what MJF is kind of sort of doing here.
So here's my thing, right? I'm of the opinion that 9 times out of 10, your world title should go last.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are exceptions to this rule. For me, the biggest exceptions being hot storyline. And
Or
that I
Brian
mean that's
Danielson versus
having a hot
Okada.
storyline. So, like for example, at Double or Nothing, Anarchy in the Arena went on last because that was the hottest story in wrestling: the Elite versus the BCC. So it made sense for the world title to go on before the main event. Um, I think that Forbidden Door is another one of those special occasions where, out of any match on the card, no match embodies the
The stream disconnected here. It's reconnecting. All right, I think we should be back. We had a little bit of a blip in my hotel internet here. But yeah, Rome, you were saying about a match that is the quintessential Forbidden Door match.
Right. So, out of all the matches that are on the card, there are no matches other than, I mean, Okada Danielson is the match that personifies what is a dream match. Like it is the match that should go on last. And I think that Tony Khan made the right call to have MJF and the World Championship for his company go on first, because what's the second most important match on the card? It's the first match. So I think usually, yes, I think the world title should go on last. However, this is again one of those exceptions where everyone wants to see Okada versus Daniel. If you're a New Japan fan and you don't really watch AEW and you're going into this, like for you, like you might not care about MJF versus Tanahashi as much as an AEW fan does. But everybody that's watching this show tomorrow, no matter who you are, like you want Okada Danielson is the match. Like that's it.
Yeah. So
And that's
I
why
did
it's
like
cool.
what you're saying there. And so Solo, I think what Rome is saying is exactly right. So in most circumstances, yes, MJF should be going on last. Like the champion should be going on last. But this whole idea of the Forbidden Door, I would actually venture to say, Rome, that Tony Khan created this whole idea of the Forbidden Door to get to this match. I swear to you that for a decade, people have been asking for Brian Danielson or Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him from back in the day, against Kazuchika Okada. It's been asked for a long time. And the entire idea of the Forbidden Door, I think, was based around this match. So I do think that this would be the right way to go to do it last. And MJF, doing the right thing here. If it's not going last, the champion should go first. Just like Roman says, hate to agree with Roman Reigns here, but I actually do. If the champion's not going on last, he should go first.
Now, see, I don't agree with that necessarily, where the champion should go on first. I don't agree with the Roman Reigns logic on
He's
to
just
that
wants to
extent.
disagree with Roman.
No, it's yes, but also no. Like I don't think like the world champion should go on last unless there's some sort of big story. Like, is there a hot story going on in your company, in your promotion right now? And if it is, that should be the main event. The hottest story in your promotion, like, and I'm not just saying like, oh, it's doing really well. Like for example, CM Punk. If that continues, that man should be main eventing. Excuse me. That man should be main eventing every pay-per-view until he doesn't get that react.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because of CM Punk. Like, the hottest act doesn't always have to be the world champion, but the hottest storyline, it should go last. That being said, if your world champion is constantly not going last, that's a problem. And that's something you need to look at because to Solo's credit, and I agree with this much, is that the world champion should be like the guy. He should be the guy that's like the face of the company, kind of like in that position to go last. But it doesn't have to be an every time thing. So I kind of agree with Solo, but also I think that there are exceptions to what he thinks.
And I gotta say, he just gave us the greatest compliment we've ever gotten. Says the greatest podcast on earth. Literally just changed his mind. So thank you very much for that compliment, Solo. That's absolutely amazing. And the quality is usually a little better. I'm on a laptop in Toronto. Usually when we're at the headquarters in Philadelphia, it's a lot better. So
yeah, I appreciate that, Solo man. Thank you. That's
thank you,
awesome.
man.
Really appreciate that.
All right, let's move on here to the next thing. We had Christian Cage coming out with Luchasaurus, and Christian is carrying the belt like we suspected he would to continue. I love this, man. I absolutely love everything Christian is doing. I can't believe I'm stealing this from you. I can't believe that the WWE fooled us into thinking he was a mid-carder for how long?
I lived my life for decades thinking that Christian Cage was mid. And like, I wish I could meet Christian Cage and like apologize to him.
Right?
Like, I legitimately feel like I've wronged someone. Like, I legitimately feel like I owe this man an apology. I owe this man like dinner. I just owe this man so much because I remember in like 2004 at like WrestleMania 20 thinking like, my God, Christian is just so boring. I can't stand Christian. Who is this goofball with Tyson Tomko walking around?
Yeah.
All this and the third. And like, oh man, Edge and Christian. Edge is the star of that tag team. That man, I'm so wrong about that one. Like my God.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? Christian Cage, once again, with just an incredible promo. The amount of things that this man accomplished for me is legendary. So Christian Cage opens up his promo by trolling Dave Meltzer. He says, when I went home last Wednesday, I was in a bad mood. Which, shot to Dave for saying that like a top star was in a bad mood on Wednesday, which childish. So she busts on Dave. That was great. And then he talks about how he's home in Toronto. Crowd's going crazy. They're chanting Christian's name. And he's like, now I'm in a worse mood because I'm back in Toronto. He says, this city breeds losers. And the crowd turns on him. And just the amount of heat that Christian Cage was getting was, up until the main event, I didn't think that they were going to match it. But they did. Christian's talking about Kawhi Leonard and just all this, that, and the third. And it was incredible. The crowd was booing him. He said, shut up while I'm conducting business. Christian,
I can't believe that both Canadians absolutely annihilated Canada tonight.
So Christian goes on to say, he's basically the champion. He says, no more open challenges. You gotta fight. You gotta claw. You gotta work to earn the shot, like I did. And so, you know, he basically goes off and then he says that, yeah, he's the champion, basically. And if you want to get the title, you're going to have to work for it. TNT title is no longer an open challenge belt. He's going to add prestige to the belt and make it the most prestigious belt in AEW or in pro wrestling. I can't remember which one he said. I think he said pro wrestling. And then so he closes the promo with a quote that, my God, it brings tears to the eyes. He says, look, I'm not going to sit here and act like I created this championship. This isn't going to be a vanity project like another guy who used to ride the roads here in AEW.
I knew that at that moment, I was like, Christian just became Rome's favorite wrestler of all time. He insulted Cody Rhodes.
I need to buy a Christian Cage t-shirt. The problem was it wasn't just the Cody line. It was the Dave line. It was the Cody line. It was just the masterful level of heel work that it takes to... You are a legend. You've been doing this for like 30 years. You come to your hometown of Toronto in a place where they don't run very often. So it's like there's all these reasons why you should be getting just the biggest pop, and the heat that he's getting, like, that's special. That's impressive. You can't just do that.
No, you
So
can't
no,
even
yeah,
buy that.
I love it for the Cody shot. I love it for the Dave shot. But on its own merits, when you take that promo and you stand it up on its own two legs, that's incredible. That's incredible work, right?
So you just reminded me of something that when I left the house, I was like, I'm forgetting something. No, I'm forgetting something. I could not figure out what it was the entire time. And I just figured out what it is. I was going to bring that Cody Rhodes figure with the rubber chicken and take pictures of it all over Toronto. And I left it. Damn it.
Oh, good stuff.
This was incredible. Christian is 10 out of 10 on the mic, man. There's very few that can come anywhere near this guy.
Bro, like, when Jack Perry turns heel tomorrow night, I want so badly for Jack and Christian and Luchasaurus to come back together. Like, bring them back together. Like, let's get these three as, like, these dastardly heels. Like, yeah, I need that. That's something I definitely need. Let's do it.
Next
I'm
up,
down.
we had a video package for Kojima, right? Isn't that what came up next?
So I didn't take any notes for this because I was kind of reacting and decompressing to the Christian promo, but it was basically a set of promos about the Owen tournament.
Okay.
So Kojima said some stuff. Punk had some stuff to say. Roderick Strong and Joe had some stuff that they were saying, but it was all good. It was good stuff. I'm excited for the tournament.
Yeah, that tournament's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to be there for this. I don't want to say the start of it, but I'll be there for whatever rounds I get to see tomorrow. Next up, we had Willow Nightingale versus Nyla Rose. And my internet went out, and it came back, and I missed what happened here. So you're going to have to help me out on this match.
So this was a really good match. Yeah. Sorry, I actually didn't take a lot of notes for this because I was eating some ice cream. But this was it was a good match. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice change of pace for Willow because usually Willow is kind of like this powerhouse who's, imposing her will on the other wrestler. Whereas tonight, Nyla Rose, very similar stature. It was a different kind of match for Willow to work. And I thought she did very well. I thought it was a great match, very enjoyable. I think Nyla Rose is consistent, where she's going to go out there and do a great job. So that was great as well. Really good match. I really enjoyed the pounce finish where Willow hits even Nyla with the pounce. Willow is just consistently coming out and just looking really strong, looking really powerful. This year for Willow, like, when all said and done, I mean, I think 2023 is her year in terms of, like, when we're talking about who was the women's wrestler of the year.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Chris Statlander could have a big year depending on where she goes, but right now, I mean, it's Willow's world, to be honest.
Yeah. The only way she doesn't win Female Wrestler of the Year would be if Mercedes comes back and just has like an insane run.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah. Mercedes would be another one that comes to mind that would be in the conversation.
Yeah.
But
all right. What came up after this one here? I didn't see anything until CMFTR were in the ring.
oh, okay. So you missed a few little segments. Nothing too crazy, but so we had a Scorpio Sky segment. He was backstage. He basically talks about how his life was not going the way that he wanted in any way until he got to AEW. And then even then he felt like he was living in his own shadow. He wasn't really meeting his full potential. He said, last week they played a highlight reel, but that's not enough. Like, let me reintroduce myself. I'm Scorpio Sky. I'm one half of the first ever World Tag Team Champions. He kind of goes off his accomplishments. He said that, he's back now, and now you're going to find out who Scorpio Sky has been on TV. So I'm intrigued to get him out there. I think the feed froze again, Jeff.
Yeah, it looks like yeah. Should be back again. It didn't tell me it cut off, so we should be back again.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think we
try
are
to
back.
hurry this up so we don't get another one of those.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens with Scorpio Sky, like where he's at. Like, it's been a long time since he's been off TV, so I don't know exactly how I feel. But we'll see what happens when he starts kind of getting back into the swing of things. And then after that, we got a quick squash match between Powerhouse Hobbs and Jeremy Prophet. This is a squash match. I didn't think that the squash match was necessary. I think you've done enough of them with Hobbs, but he's wrestling Dustin on Collision on Saturday, so that's good.
It's weird. It feels like that's all they know to do with him right now. Hobbs just keeps getting squash after squash, and I'm just like, yeah, I get it. It's just not coming across,
The
it's
problem
like,
is,
where's he heading?
So the problem is that a squash match isn't a bad thing. It's okay to have squash match, but the problem is that you went and you got rid of Dark and Elevation, and so now it's kind of like, well, now you got to kind of like lower the amount of squash matches you're doing, because like people don't want to tune into Dynamite or Collision to see a squash every week.
Exactly.
I can understand you wanting to do one on Rampage, so that way you can kind of have a 4-match card for Rampage. Like, I get that. I can respect that. But I definitely don't think that you need to keep doing these matches. And the problem is that the way that that AEW and Tony Khan views them is that they're fine to do. I mean, you look at Lance Archer, and like Lance hasn't really done anything meaningful on AEW TV in months. But he goes out there and he has squash matches all the time. So it's like, that's just something that as a company they don't mind doing. Again, I think that that's something that they might want to reassess with the lack of Dark and Elevation being a thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Hobbs looks like a monster. So, I mean, I guess mission accomplished for them. It's just we want to see him wrestle in some more meaningful matches, which I can understand.
Yeah, you think we're going to see him and Luchasaurus, or you think they're going to send him down another route? Because he only had that TNT belt for a little bit.
No, I don't think Hobbs is going to go after Lucha.
Yeah, I don't either. So we'll see where that goes. All right, what was up next after that? We get CMFTR versus
Yep, it is time for the main event.
Dude, this match was incredible. Like, this is 2 weeks in a row that the main event was a multi-man match that normally I'm not a huge fan of the multi-man matches. I like them. I love the trios matches, stuff like that. But normally a 4-on-4, I'm not into tremendously. But my God, this was probably my favorite 4-on-4 match I've ever seen. What about you?
So I would love to sit here and talk about how great this match, because it was. And I would love to sit here and talk about the Guns joining Bullet Club Gold because they did. I would also love to sit here and talk about how great I think the Guns actually are, along with Jay White and Juice Robinson, because they all are. And I would love to sit here and talk about how great Collision was, because it was.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really want to talk about is the reaction to CM Punk. Here's the thing, Coog, I love the cheers, but I also love that reaction in that building, right? Because last week it was Chicago, so it was the opposite. But when you get a reaction, that is not something that people get. Like that's, I said it earlier with Christian, like that's not how it goes. Like you have to be at a different level. You have to be operating at a level far above everyone else.
Yep.
And that's CM Punk. At the end of the day, you can love him or you can boo him. But at the end of the day, like we talked about John, we could talk about John. Some people love John Cena. Like he was the guy for
Uh,
people who
we
hated
hiccuped
John
again.
Cena.
You should be good.
What?
We hiccuped again. You should be good now.
Oh, okay, sorry. There were a lot of people that loved John Cena, and there was a lot of people that hated John Cena. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter whether you loved him or hated him. It was the reaction. When John Cena walked into an arena, the roof would come off the building, and people would react.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
that is not something that just happened. Like, you need to have that polarizing connection with the fans, with the audience. And that's something that CM Punk has. And, like, man, like, I don't know. Like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, you're telling me CM Punk isn't going to be the top heel in this company? You're fucking crazy. You're insane.
So
There's no one else that works that crowd like that. CM Punk came out there and he was like, sorry, what?
I was going to say, I'm going to distinguish CM Punk away from Juan Cena and say that when the crowd has that reaction for Punk, it's adults. When the crowd had that reaction for Cena, it's mostly children.
Look, I understand that. I'm not going to disagree. And again, like, I understand. But
Yeah.
you can't sit here and completely disregard John Cena. Like, I know the Coog likes to make fun of John Cena. Like, look, man, I'm going to be real with you. And obviously, I hate WWE, and I hate them, and I hated them a lot during John Cena's run. But, like, you can't sit here and say that John Cena wasn't a polarizing figure. It doesn't matter if it was kids or adults. It was the crowd. It was the audience. It was the people in the building. People would come in and they would pay to go see John Cena. Some would pay to cheer him. Some would pay to boo him, but that's what it was. And with CM Punk, that's what you're getting. You're getting that echelon that just not everybody can reach. It is a special place that the Pepsi merchant finds himself in, has always found himself in, quite frankly. He's always been that polarized. It just so happens that more people were on the cheering camp than the booing camp. All it took was for him to have it, to go against someone who was equally loved. And then that's why it's a little bit more of a split now. But he's always drawn those reactions. That's just CM Punk. He's always been like
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, that reaction tonight, like, that's all you got to see is, like, this man should be the biggest heel in the company. Bottom line. Like, I love
100%.
MJF, but at the end of the day, like, when you, like, I just think back to the crowd tonight. Like, that made, like, that atmosphere, man, that's pro wrestling. That is, that's everything, man. Like, that's why you do it. That's why I sit down and I watch it. Like, that right there is,
Yeah.
what else can you say?
This is how you turn MJF face and turn CM Punk heel as well. That red bag, man. That red bag, that holds some key to the future of AEW right now, dude.
And that's the thing. I don't even think you need to turn MJF babyface. I don't think you should, nor do I think they will. I mean, it could happen, but I don't think so.
Well,
I think it's
I'm
too.
saying, like,
I
if
think
you
it's
said if
too.
Punk becomes the biggest heel and they both are holding on to that belt, MJF has to become the babyface by default, no?
But yes and no. I mean, MJF is going to get cheers, but that's also why, like, MJF is also a polarizing figure in that regard.
Yeah.
And so that's why the inevitable rematch between the two of them is going to be so intriguing, because don't know how it's going to go. But I think that there is a way to do it where neither of them necessarily turn face. But that's getting into like fantasy booking and how I think they should do it and stuff like.
Yeah. But man, what an excellent episode number 2 of Collision. I mean, Tony's knocking it out of the park right now with Collision. I mean, just 100-foot home runs back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. Excellent TV here on Saturday night, 8 to 10. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
All right. You want to run through the Forbidden Door card now that they added a couple matches to the 0 Hour?
They did. All right. Grab.
I think we got 4 matches all together now for the 0 Hour. I can't wait.
We do. All right. So I'm going to run through real quickly with the main card and then the 0 Hour and then what's announced for next week. First up, we have the trios match: Sting, Darby Allin, and Naito versus Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Shita. Versus the Elite, Eddie Kingston and Tomohiro Ishii. Adam Cole versus Filthy Tom Lawler. I'm so pumped that Tom Lawler made the card.
Me too.
That's so cool. I'm a big Tom Lawler guy.
Yeah, I'm a huge Filthy Tom fan.
I remember when I went to Collision in Philadelphia, they did a 6-man tag between Team Filthy and Zack Sabre Jr. and his guys.
You went to NJPW Philadelphia.
What?
You went to NJPW, right?
Yeah. It was at New Japan Pro Wrestling Collision in Philadelphia.
It was called Collision?
Yeah, you know what it was?
Just like, what?
It was called Collision in Philadelphia, yeah. That's funny. I didn't think about that.
All right.
But so when I was there, they did this trios match, and the ref checked both of, I think it was the West Coast Wrecking Crew as part of Team Filthy. And they check them, and they find weapons on both of them. And they check. The ref checks Tom Lawler, and he finds like a toothbrush. And he grabbed Tom. Like, I was just gonna brush my teeth with it. See, look, he's like brushing his teeth. And then the ref like takes it, throws it away. And then Zack Sabre Jr.'s like, check him again, ref. He's the filthiest of them all.
Have a good night, Michael.
Again, they found something else. It was great. But anyways, big Tom Lawler. CM Punk
versus Fred Dosser in Philly at the New Japan show I went to.
Oh yeah, nice. CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima for a Owen quarterfinal tomorrow. MJF defends his AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Have a good night, Michael. Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Sonata for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. For the AEW Women's Championship, Toni Storm defending her title against Willow Nightingale. And we have a 4-way dance for the AEW International Championship. Orange Cassidy defending against Daniel Garcia, Katsuyori Shibata, and Zack Sabre Jr. The rematch of the century, Kenny Omega defending his IWGP US Heavyweight Championship against Will Ospreay. See, I had the 0 Hour. Sorry, give me 1 second. It was a little messed up. LFI versus United Empire. Stu Grayson versus El Phantasmo. The Mogul Embassy versus Chaos Roppongi Vice and El Desperado. So those are the matches. And then also there was an Owen quarterfinal match, Athena versus Billy Stark. Yeah, that's great. That's going to be really good. So even the 0 Hour looks really good. Coming up next week for Collision, oddly enough, they did not announce Dynamite's card. They announced Collision's card tonight. MJF makes his in-ring wrestling debut on Collision. The Owen quarterfinal, Roderick Strong versus Samoa Joe. The Owen quarterfinal, Dustin Rhodes versus Powerhouse Hobbs. And the Owen quarterfinal, Juice Robinson versus Ricky Starks will all be taking place next week on Collision.
Nice. I'm going to be at that Collision. Let's go. I should be on hard cam, but I might be a couple of rows too high. I'm in row 18, but like I should be right there if 18 is visible on hard cam. We'll see.
So we will.
All right, man. You got anything else you want to go over before we get out of here?
No, it's generally it. I mean, I'm going to try to keep it a little brief. I know that the connection isn't the best, and the quality of stuff going on isn't to our usual standards. So, no, I mean, I'll just keep it brief. Again, I thought it was an excellent episode of Collision. For right now, for me, it's the A show. Dynamite needs to step it up a little bit because I'm always going to judge the shows based off whatever the best show is right now. It's why I would always say Rampage was what it was, and be better, Dynamite, because Collision's really good right now. They moved 6,000 tickets for tonight's show, so that was really impressive. That was pretty damn good. They got those ticket sales up really quickly.
Yeah, being out here in Toronto, everybody's saying like AEW fans have taken over the city. Like you can't go anywhere without seeing an AEW shirt.
Yeah, I saw a tweet the other day that I really agreed with. And it was, I can't remember who said it, so I can't quote who it was specifically, but they said, Forbidden Door is what SummerSlam used to be.
Yeah.
And it's the summer show. It's like,
we're good.
Okay, we're good.
When
yeah.
you come back, I know it's good.
Show. And now it's Forbidden Door. But yeah, that's all I got. Because again, connections are bad. So
yeah. What we'll do for Monday, we're gonna do our Forbidden Door review show on Monday, right, Rome? What we'll do is we'll have you run the pod from your end. You have much better internet, and it's all set up. You just gotta turn it on.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out over the weekend. But yeah, that sounds great. We're gonna do it Monday. Again, the picks are, I think, mostly in. I think everyone has submitted their picks for the King's Court Invitational. I worked today and then came right home and watched Collision, so I have not spreadsheeted it all or figured any of it out. There will be results on the pay-per-view review show, so bear with me, but I don't have any of it organized right now, so I'm not going to get into it.
All good. I found a way for you to do these way easier, and you can get the results in like 2 seconds, and all of it will do it for you. I'll send it to you when I can.
Okay.
All right, man, you want to close this out?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, this has been episode 153 of the Broken Tables podcast. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us here tonight. Thank you to Solo Season, who hung out with us tonight. Really appreciate that, man. Let's get you back in here next time on Monday. Thank you to everyone else as well. The Coug, I think Jordan was here for a little bit. Michael Duke already stepped out for the night. If you're hanging out with us, hit the like button and the subscribe button, please, so that way you can come back and watch us again. Again, this is a big weekend for content and for the channel, along with Jeff, who is currently in Canada for Forbidden Door. We will be doing a review show for Forbidden Door on Monday. Also planning on doing the Game Room podcast on Monday. We talk about video games and pro wrestling on this channel. So if you like either of those, or even better, both of those, then you're the person I want to have a conversation with. So hang out with us in the chat. Again, we will be back on Monday for 2 podcasts, most likely, followed by a Dynamite and Collision review throughout the week. That'll have to be ironed out as well. Jeff will still be in Canada at that point, but we'll figure it out. Yeah. You can follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter links are in the description below. Once again, the King's Court Invitational is going on round 2. Good luck to all of the competitors in that. And yeah, I think that's it. See you guys later.
All right, man. Everybody have a great night. Thank you for putting up with my hotel room connection. But till Monday night, top guys out.
Bye.